What's going on YouTube? This is Max coming back at you once again with another video. This time I'm doing an unboxing video on the new Apple TV 4K. If you like this type of content, if you could do me a favor by hitting that like button and that subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. So this is the second gen Apple TV 4K, and it comes with a number of upgrades including the A12 chip, HDMI 2.1 thread, high frame rate HDR, and a totally redesigned Siri remote. So I'm going to go over the unboxing, and I'm going to show the newest version of the Apple TV 4K compared to the older version. The original Apple TV 4K launched back in 2017 with the A10X chip and the Siri remote, while the 2017 Apple TV 4K debuted with such support for modern features like Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, and HDR10. No changes for almost 4 years meant that the set-top box was well past due for an upgrade. With the new Apple TV 4K, along with adopting the latest standards like HDMI 2.1 thread, Wi-Fi 6, and a major change to the new Apple TV 4K with the updated version of the Siri remote. With the aluminum design, new 5-way navigation click pad, ability to control TV and receivers. Now, just about to unbox the Apple TV, and the one thing that I'm about to go ahead and do is unwrap the new Siri remote. One thing I really can say about Apple is they always do a really good job with their presentation when you do an unboxing, and I just had to give kudos to Apple. But getting back to the Siri remote, the Siri remote comes with a redesigned 5-way click pad, but it still works with the touch gesture for quick control. The outer rings is also handy for sticking backwards and forwards. The Siri button has been moved to the side, just like the modern iPhones. And now there's a dedicated power and mute button, with the menu button renamed to back button. Also, on the remote is now Bluetooth 5.0 compared to the previous generation, which was 4.0. It also has a dedicated button for the power and mute. As far as the dimensions for the Apple TV, it's pretty much identical to the previous generation Apple TV, so you wouldn't know the difference. So besides the identical dimensions with the previous Apple TV 4K, what's really special about this one is the internals. The new A12 Bionic chip with the new Apple TV 4K enables high frame rate support for HDR and Dolby Vision at 60 frames per second for a more smooth and lifelike viewing experience. Now, I get that the A12 Bionic chip is not considered new per se, but it is new for the Apple TV 4K. I do understand that this chip was created back in 2018 for the iPhone 10 and the iPad back in 2018, 2019. But getting this upgrade for the new Apple TV 4K is better than what we have before. Now, I wish we would have had the M1 chip instead of the A12 Bionic, but this is what Apple has given us. So for the rest of the unboxing, I'm about to go ahead and speed this along. If you are interested, you could go ahead and slow down the video, but it's pretty much just the basic Apple instructions with, the Apple stickers with coming with the cord and the power cable to charge your Siri remote and the Apple set-top box. So what I'm doing right now is showing you the comparison between the previous generation of Apple 4K TV and the newest one. And the reason why I purchased this one is because we do need a new Apple TV in the basement, which I just got recently renovated, and the other Apple TV is going to be upstairs. So that's really my reasoning for why I purchased another one. So, and then also too, I'm into technology, so I always like to get the latest and greatest. But if you look at both set-top boxes, they pretty much identical, and it's kind of hard to differentiate between one or the other. But the only thing that I can see that really tells us apart is just the remotes. So you can see looking at this new Siri remote and the previous generation remote, you can see the major upgrades with that. Now I'm about to go ahead and jump into the basic setup. So right now I have it connected to my Sony A90J. So if you never seen this before, or if you have seen this before, this is what it looks like when you first hook your Apple TV 4K to a TV. It goes through the basic instructions. I thought this was pretty interesting because I always like how Apple does their presentation. So I thought this would probably be nice to show that anyone who may be interested in taking a look at the first intro of setting up your Apple 4K TV. One thing I really can't appreciate with Apple is the simplicity of setting up a device. So for me, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, I just use my iPhone just to set up my Apple 4K TV. It might be a little bit different if you're not in the ecosystem. So for this one, it didn't take me that long just to set up the set-top box. But if you do have an iPhone, then the first thing that they do is they'll send you some authenticated code, and from there, once it has access to your iPhone, then they go ahead and just set up your Apple TV right from there to put your personal profile, the apps that are good for streaming, and so forth with your passwords and login credentials. So I thought this was pretty easy and simple. It didn't take that long just to set up. But if you are new to the Apple ecosystem, this may take a little bit longer. But if you are in the Apple ecosystem, then it shouldn't take you probably less than 5 or 10 minutes just to get everything set all up how the way you want it. So once you finish up the settings, then it will ask you some questions of what you want to name your Apple TV. For me, I just went ahead and just used the entertainment room based on my basement renovation. I could name it home theater, but whatever the case may be, you could use whatever name that they have selected. And what I find that's pretty interesting and pretty cool is that anytime you hook that Apple TV to a TV input, it will recognize as that name. So I thought that was interesting. But getting back to the setup, I'm about to go over a few things with everyone, as in how I set my Apple TV compared to probably seeing some other reviews. So this is the Apple TV home screen. So I'm going back and forth. So you'll see what's to watch now, Apple TV, movies, TV shows, Will's purchase. So I'm about to go ahead and go into the settings portion. And you can see that all the applications I have on my previous Apple TV 4K is now being downloaded on the new version. But let's go ahead and go through the settings and talk about that. Now the first thing I update is the chroma. And the reason why I went to 4222 so to give you an improved video quality for your TV and the set-top box on the Apple TV. So right now I went ahead and enabled that. And it only takes a few seconds. Once you press OK, then you go to the Dolby Vision portion of it. And one thing that I have done specifically for my side is I did disable that Dolby Vision portion of it. The reason being is because I did not want to have that enabled and force Dolby Vision on all movies or home screen or content, because not all videos have Dolby Vision or HDR. Some movies are just HD. And so instead of just forcing that, I kept it at 4K SDR. So if you're wondering why I didn't enable enable that portion of it, that's my reasoning. Now there is a match content where you get to match the actual content in the HDR for that particular video. So say for instance that it is mastered in Dolby Vision or HDR or just HD, then that selection right there will match it to what it's supposed to do instead of just enabling Dolby Vision for everything. Now switching up, I went ahead and did a just color balance. So this is something that is new for the Apple TVs 4K. It is on the previous gen version, but I went ahead and did this, and I thought it was pretty neat because the only thing you need to do is have your iPhone. I believe you have to have it either iPhone 10 or higher, and you have to have the latest firmware update. So I went ahead and updated my phone. Apple TV is updated, and you can see the differences between the original and the balance. In my opinion, I like the balanced version more than I did the original. So I went ahead and did a comparison between both of those. So I went ahead and switched it to balance. Now this is only for the set-top box. I don't have to touch any settings on the TV whatsoever. Now that I updated everything, let me go ahead and go back to the Apple TV home screen. So one thing I think is pretty neat, and I haven't seen this before in other videos, is that one reason I do like the Apple TV set-top box a lot more than other streaming services or even the TV internal apps is that when you buy a movie, for instance, they have the actual screen where you could look at scenes, extra content, or you could go to chapters or related movies. That's one thing that I really haven't seen in my TV internal apps, especially on my Sony A90J or my Sony A9F, which I thought was kind of interesting. And also, too, one of the other things that I think is great about the Apple TV 4K is when you have other items that are Apple related products. Let's say, for instance, I have an Apple AirPods Pro that I use with a set-top box. One thing that if you update to the latest firmware update or you participate in the beta, which I am participating, is that on the 15.0 that has spatial audio, so it gives you that imitation of kind of like an Atmos surround sound, which I think is pretty neat. And I will kind of show that a little bit, but I'm just wanting to go through kind of like this home screen a little bit of some of the movies that I purchased, because this is something I haven't seen in other reviews. I could be totally wrong, but I don't want to. This is one of the extra things that I do like about Apple TV set-top box. Now you can't get this with the Apple application, but if you have the set-top box, you can. So here's my AirPods Pro, just like how I mentioned. It's very easy to pair it with your other items. And if I go back to the menu, you can see that it's already been selected, but you can see that it has spatial audio that is currently off, but you got noise cancellation, transparency and off. But once I play the movie and I go back into resume, wait a second, I will go ahead and click the menu once again, and if I hit the AirPods Pro, I could go ahead and enable the spatial audio. So this is something that is a huge benefit in my opinion. Is other people may have different preferences, but one thing is that I do like how the chapter selection, I just like the whole setup a little bit more better than other applications like Vudu or Amazon Prime. It's just the layout is so much simplistic, and it reminds me a lot of looking at a 4K player disc, where you kind of want to open up the menu, you want to go ahead and look at different chapter scenes or extra content. That's something that you can get with the Apple TV 4K. You can't get it with the app if you have it on your TV, but you only can get this with the set-top box, which I thought is pretty neat. So this is all I have right now for the video, but if you do like this type of content, if you could do me a favor by hitting that like button and that subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good one. Take care.